Hello, the first proper video of mine on my channel is going to be on supply and demand. Very, very simple, but actually one of the most important aspects of economics. It's mostly common sense, and I'm being honest. I mean, you have the factors of supply and demand which change, just change it. And they're quite simple to understand, but yeah. Anyway, I'll teach you. So we got definitions of supply and we got definitions of demand, which hopefully you can see. So on my screen right now it's flipped, but I tested it, it's all good. You can also see FIFA probably in there. And we got this graph as well. So the supply being is the amount of goods and services that the seller will be able to produce at any time, given a price as well. Obviously, if the cost, say for production or the good or whatever is too high, they're going to be able to supply less. So let's say we got a car business, right, and we've got the price of, say, metal goes up, then they're going to be able to produce less cars because of the production being higher up. So they'll shift supply inwards. We'll get onto that in a bit. And then we have demand, which is the amount of goods or services that the buyer is going to get, that they can get anytime, any price. Yeah. Obviously, if it's not a good product, then they're not going to be wanted to get too much of it. So it's very common. It's very much common sense. We have got this graph here. So we've got P, which is price. That's on the y-axis, and we've got Q, which is quantity on the x. We've got our line of supply, which goes upwards like this, and then the demand goes down like this. Okay, and we have these dotted lines here. This is where it meets in the middle, and that's called our equilibrium point. That is where the market is perfect. Okay, so demand meets the number of supply perfectly, and that's really what firms tend to aim for. That is what they want. And what I'm going to show you is, we'll start with demand first. And I'll show you how you really draw shift outwards and shift inwards of demand. So we're going to keep the supply the same. Supply has not changed. This is just demand. So example being, let's have a think. Say this is dairy milk, right? And Galaxy have released a brand new bar chocolate, which everyone loves. Okay, what's going to happen to demand is because they're both pretty much the same product, but as this is a dairy milk thing, and Galaxy has released it, the demand line will shift inwards, right? It doesn't matter too much whereabouts. Just for now. I mean, it probably will do in the future, but I don't know. But. So we're going to label that D1 there. This is the first line. So the normal one where it matches equilibrium point there. This is going to be D2. Okay, and to signify to the to show the examiner how it's gone, I'm going to put an arrow like that. Okay, that is an absolute crap arrow. I can't draw very well. Okay, that's the arrow there. So it shows the shift inwards, and you've got to make sure you put that down just in case it's not too clear for the examiner. A little tip, really. You've got to pretend these people are idiots. You've got to really go into detail, like to the point where you are treating them like an idiot. And let's say the opposite happens. So say Dairy Milk releases a brand new chocolate bar, which everyone really likes. So the demand is going to go out like this. Okay, it goes outwards like that. Very simple. And we'll label that D3, and we can put an arrow like that as well. Obviously, we could draw these dotted lines again, there and there, and it gives us new prices, which is what I'm going to do. Let's quickly get this off. Put that one. Okay. I'm just going to draw them on very quickly. And it will show you the equilibrium. Will actually show you what happens to the price as what's it? So show what happens to the price as demand changes. Okay, so we've got here. This is P2, and it matches up with Q2. That is a very important thing that you have to remember. Okay, so we've got P2 and we've got Q2. They match the same equilibrium point like that, just like Q1 and P1. They match. Okay, you can't have, say, Q3 and P1. That doesn't work. It'd be very bad. As you can see, the shift from P1 to P2 is down. That obviously shows that there's a reduce in the price of the good or service. And in comparison to the demand going out, firms are going to charge more because there's a higher demand, which causes the price to go up. Okay? Very simple, very simple. Now, if I draw, I'll get rid of the whole graph. I've rubbed out some of my title. Just quickly draw this in. I'm just going to keep it all one colour. You've seen the colour difference. Hopefully by now, whoever's watching this has a general understanding of what's going on. Oh. Okay, right. So you've got the supply curve again, it's demand supply again, and then I'm going to show two shifts in supply now. Not demand, just supply. So I'll label that there. Now, in comparison to demand, where if the demand is if demand is reduced, the price goes down. This is the complete opposite. When, as seen here, I'll draw the equilibrium points as well. Just draw that there and there as well. Okay. See the shift from S1 to S2. It goes inwards like that, but you can see that it's gone up. And that's obviously because of scarcity. As there's less of the product, demand hasn't changed. So if demand had changed, this would, it would change the whole equilibrium thing entirely. As demand's the same, prices go up just because there's not enough. There's not enough quantity. It's the opposite here. So as obviously demand has stayed the same, but the shift from S1 to S3 has lowered the price because there's a lot more supply, and this is actually something that tends to happen with firms. They do tend to push out. Say if demand's really high, they will try and push out as much of the product or good or service as they can, just to really maximise those profits. And from the standpoint of that, it does make sense, but you can only do that to a limit. I've probably missed out some stuff. It's a pretty simple concept. It's just my understanding of it, and yeah, I hope you enjoy.